Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jake from TNJ, and welcome to the off-season going into Season 3, and you don't want to miss any of this. This is kind of a longer video, but there's good reason. It's very entertaining, the things that happen in this off-season, so let's hop straight into it. So, just looking at our coaching staff, I did talk about in the last video that our training has been lackluster, and I think it's due to our hitting and pitching coaches. I'm not really sure exactly how that works, but our farm director is actually pretty good. He's an A attribute grade, but we do need to replace these two guys. The hitting coach, Tim Laker, does have 2 years left on his deal, and our pitching coach has 1. But at C grade, I just do not see a spot in the organization for them. I need some development, and one thing I'm really disappointed in was that Kyle Lewis, a guy that was the minor league player of the year for us last year, led the Texas League in everything pretty much last season, did not progress pretty much at all. And I'm disappointed because I was expecting him to kind of be at the MLB level, and I just need to get better coaching so that our players' morale gets boosted, and I think that affects play. If their morale is good, they're gonna play well, and that's what I want from our guys. Even guys, they have this thing where you move guys up and you move them back down, even though they weren't true starters, their morale is affected. And when I move guys back down like Kyle Lewis, their morale is affected. Even Jared Kelenic, his morale is affected when he goes back down into the minors. Even though he knows he's not going to be starting, the status says that he thinks he's going to be like some type of depth player or bench player. So I need to get some better pitching and hitting coaches. So I do jump into the stage first to start out in the offseason. Nobody from our team really retired, so we didn't have to worry about that. Ben Zobrist, I thought, was going to retire. He's 39 years old, but he ended up not retiring. But I'm not going to bring him back. We brought him on a 1-year deal, and for good reason. But the one guy I do want to bring back before he does hit free agency is Jeremy Hellickson. He is about 77 overall, but 82 with morale, and he was just impressive. I mean, I do not have any reservations about this at all. Even given his age 33, I don't care. I mean, this guy just produced for us last year, and even his morale right now, even his team role, he thinks he's kind of a depth guy, but even the rotational piece that we put him in, it boosts his morale, and that's what I'm talking about. We need to get a coach that will help boost that morale, get these coaches in there, and that's what we did, signing those 2 A grade coaches. So we are going to bring Hellickson back for a 1-year, $4 million deal in the rotation, and he is going to accept that deal before hitting free agents, before other teams can kind of bid and bid for his services. So let's just look at our arbitration guys. Pretty much everybody that was on arbitration we brought back, except a couple of guys, one being Chad Kuhl. He was arbitration eligible, but I just don't see a spot for him. I think he's just one of those guys I took a chance on, and I just don't think it worked out. So we're just going to let him walk into free agency, and I don't know where he's going to land. Then the other guy that I was thinking about not offering was Alias, and it's because he had a good year our first season, but his attributes are just not there, and I don't want to waste money on a guy that I can just put in somebody else. So then we move into free agency, the good stuff, and look who's a free agent. Mookie Betts. Wow, at age 28, 98 overall, A potential, he's there for the taking, and this would be a home run of a signing for any team. But let's be honest, this guy is going to demand over $250 million, at least he should in real life. That's what he should be getting, but he's 98 overall, A potential. I mean, every team, if they have the budget, should be lining up for his services, and he is a superstar. And it wouldn't be in a superstar class without 2 superstars. Corey Kluber, 95 overall, A potential, 34 years old. Yes, a little older, but he's still, he's still one of the best. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Blake Trinan hits free agency as well from the Athletics. Trevor Bauer is there as well from the Indians. So the Indians are potentially losing 2 starting pitchers. So they are going to need to open up their wallet if they do want to keep one, if not both of them. That's pretty much going to empty out their budget. Andrew Miller's a free agent. He's a pretty good relief pitcher. Andrelton Simmons. This isn't a bad class. A lot of pitchers here, at the top, as you see Daniel Winkler is there, James Paxton. Could we reunite with James Paxton, JT Realmuto, Ken Giles? And look at this, Kirby Yates, a guy that I actually really like. He's been a late bloomer, but he's got really good attributes. You can just see the strikeouts per 9 and the hits per 9. Let's just see what he's looking for. So he's looking for $5.5 million a year. And one of my goals going into this offseason was to kind of get another arm in the bullpen, because we do need to bolster that a little bit, because I had a good year in the bullpen. Don't get me wrong, but we started out slow. I want to start out fast and stay that way the remaining season. So just looking at the other free agents here, Jackie Bradley is a free agent. And I'm just looking at his stats here and his attributes. He's never hit over 240 in his career. I mean, he's never hit over about 270 in his career, and his career average is about 240. I mean, wow. I would have thought that he would have had a better career. I remember when he was first a rookie, there was so much hype around him, and he just didn't live up to it. So then we look at catchers, because I know that Omar Narvaez had a down year, and I wanted to get a guy to kind of platoon with him. I looked at JT Realmuto, but he was kind of looking for a little too much. And look at the offer on the table right now, 5 years, $67 million. That's a little bit too much for me to pay a catcher, especially since I don't need a superstar catcher. So I kind of look at Wellington Castillo. He's a good hitter versus left-handers, and that's what I need. I need a guy that can hit versus left. And remember, he was playing with Omar Narvaez in Chicago in 2018. They were teammates. So they definitely have that familiarity of kind of helping each other out, platooning with each other, and so what. And I think that, this is a guy that we should go after. I'm not going to sign him to a long-term deal. I like short-term deals, especially for older guys in their 30s. That's typically how it goes in real life anyway. Unless you're a top superstar, you're not getting a 3-year, 4-year deal. So we offer him that contract, and he ends up accepting that. So then we move into kind of the tier 2 of free agency. This isn't the stage with tier 2, but just the tier 2 free agents as far as talent goes. And I look at a guy, Justin Turner, and Justin Turner is interesting. He's a big guy. He's hit over 300 the past 4 seasons. That's just so valuable. So then I looked at Justin Smoak. He's a switch hitter. I thought he actually only hit left, and it surprised me that I saw that he switch hit, and I didn't really know that. I don't know why I didn't. Probably because I don't see much of him in real life. D. Gordon's a free agent. That's pretty surprising there. I'm surprised that he didn't re-up with the team, whoever he was playing with. I didn't even check. But then I go back to Justin Turner. I mean, this is a guy that we need to keep in the back of our mind. He's 80 overall, A potential. He is 36, but he's still got a lot left in the tank, especially on offense. And just looking at his on-base percentage, 377 is pretty good for a guy that, is more of a power hitter and a 3-hole hitter. So I actually decided to look at him a little bit, and I did want to offer him a contract, but I thought that he will still be around because I didn't see any offers out to him early on in free agency. So I did kind of leave him alone, but I could revisit this. It would likely be a 1-year deal. So we'll just keep him in our back pockets and revisit him later on. But then we do need kind of more depth in the infield and just as a team as a whole. And then we look at Marwin Gonzalez, a guy who's hit pretty well. He hits switch hits. He's got great fielding attributes. I mean, you can just see that right there, all in the 70s. That's a win right there. If you're all in the 70s, you're pretty good as a fielder because that means that, you're not slacking in one area, you're just an all-around fielder. And I like that. And we can play him in the outfield. And one guy that I was disappointed in last season was Domingo Santana. So I am going to offer Marwin Gonzalez a contract. And you know what? I think he is an everyday player. He's about 80 overall. With morale boost, he's going to be about 80. And I think that he could actually be a big difference maker, much like Tim Beckham is on our team. And he's actually rated much higher than Tim Beckham. So I think he's going to make an impact. I need a guy to kind of platoon with Daniel Vogelback and also just be a depth guy just in case somebody starts slumping. David Freese, we were lucky to have him last year, and he ended up serving that role, and we end up signing Marwin Gonzalez as well. So we got him on a 2-year deal, but I do want to just go back and look at our draft picks last year. Eddie Zepeda, he was our top pick. He looks good right now. At shortstop, he's got good arm strength, good speed, good base running, and he actually can hit the ball with power. I can't wait to see what he's going to develop into. And remember, we do have Ronald Marte, who we drafted 2 years ago, who's going to have a shot at the MLB. And then we also drafted Reggie Gutierrez. That was our second pick. And our third pick was Cliff Fisher, who ends up being a really good prospect of ours now. He's 22 years old. He's got a couple of years to develop. I think we can develop him pretty nicely. And then Enrique Julio, who is an A potential. So the reason I bring those guys up is because, remember, if we do end up going after one of these big tier 1 free agents, we will have to give up a draft pick if the qualifying offer has been made. So it's been made on Mookie Betts, Corey Kluber, and Trevor Bauer. And you know what? I'm going to go after one of them. But look at Mookie Betts. I just think this is so realistic. The Boston Red Sox and the Yankees are in a bidding war. That is pretty realistic, and I can't help but, kind of just let it see how that plays out, because I'm surprised to not see the Dodgers or the Cubs or a team like that has a big budget like that. I'm surprised to not see all these big market teams lined up to get him, because I would definitely expect that to happen in real life. So then we look back at Corey Kluber. He only has one offer there, and that's from the Indians. And look at, Winkler. He's getting touted by the Rangers. So the Rangers, and look at them, they're going after Trevor Bauer too. So the Rangers are definitely trying to keep on top of the division. So we definitely need to do something to compete with them, and going after one of these top guys might be the way we have to do it. And I told you guys before the offseason started, I wanted to sign one of these big guys, and that's kind of the goal here. And I think we're going to go after one of them. And that one guy is not going to be Trevor Bauer. It's not going to be Mookie Betts either. I just want to leave it alone and just think about it just a little bit more. But, Corey Kluber is 34 years old. 95 overall. It's not every day that you get faced with kind of tier pitching like this. I mean, the top tier with Trevor Bauer and Corey Kluber. I don't know. This is a tough decision, but I just keep going back to Corey Kluber. He's 95 overall. He's not really regressing at all. So I think we're going to make this offer to him, and it's going to have to be a hefty offer here. 3 years, $80 million. And that is going to be about $26 million a year. It's going to run him until age 37. But that production cannot be duplicated by anybody on our team as far as just the longevity and just the pure dominance. Rodon has actually been really, really good. He's been a really good ace for us. But just look at the dominance of Corey Kluber. I just need this on my squad, and I think this will help us get over the top and win the division, especially since we see the Rangers. I mean, they have Jose Barrios and all these other young pitchers that are pretty much winning them this division. And right now, we're playing catch up with them. Those are the top. That's probably the top team. The Astros are still rebuilding, and the Athletics are doing their thing. They're probably making moves as well. So then we move into the next stage of offseason after offering that contract to Corey Kluber, and JT Realmuto signs with the Rangers. So you see, they are making deals right away. Blake Trinan, he signs with the Brewers. So the Brewers are trying to compete as well. So then we hop back into free agency again. Mookie Betts, like I said, I'm surprised that the Cubs and the Dodgers aren't in this. Hey, look at the Cubs. They get in it. 8 years, $248 million. I would be shocked if he does not accept that. That is a great offer there. And Mookie Betts looks like he's going to be a Chicago Cub. But then we get bad news. Corey Kluber has an offer in from the New York Yankees. So we got to play catch up. But then we get some more bad news. Daniel Winkler, his top offer is from the Rangers. They are making moves. So we have to up our offer here and go after Corey Kluber a little bit harder. But I don't want to do just that. We need to boost our bullpen, so we focus in on Kirby Yates. I told you guys I kind of like him. He's a kind of a late bloomer, but his attributes are really, really good. He started he was in the closing role last year. 41 saves to 5 blown saves. I'll take that, to be honest. That's pretty good. I mean, the 5 blown saves, you would obviously want less, but 41 saves. I mean, Tuivailala only had like 23, I believe. And I need to win these games, especially these close games. And having somebody like Kirby Yates, it will definitely boost us up. So we offer him a 2-year deal, about $6 million a year. Then we go back to Corey Kluber. We had to up this contract offer because it's the Yankees. They are pretty much ahead of us because, you know, their team quality is a contender. Right now, our team quality is considered rebuilding. I'm not sure how the game decides that, but we offer a 3-year, $93 million deal. More per year that the Yankees gave him, but it's not a contender, I guess, quote unquote. But we do offer him that contract, and we'll see what he decides next. So we get good news. Kirby Yates signs with us on a 2-year, $13 million deal. That's not bad. Remember, we have plenty of money to spend, and that will definitely help us. And honestly, that 87 overall coming over to our bullpen will definitely help us. He is 34, so he will be on our team until 36. But then the Rangers, look at them. They signed Daniel Winkler, so they get stronger as well. So I guess that's kind of a wash, to be honest. You know, Kirby Yates coming to us, and then Winkler going to them. But then we get the best news of the offseason. Corey Kluber, he puts the pen to the paper and signs this deal, 3 years, $93 million. And there we have it, our first 90-plus overall player on this roster here in this franchise comes from Corey Kluber. He's played his whole career with the Indians, but now he's coming to us. But then the Athletics make a move. Ken Giles, they sign him. And then Mookie Betts makes the weirdest move of the offseason. If you guys notice, his deals were over $200 million. For some reason, he signed a 7-year, $145 million deal. I'm not sure what happened there, but he took less money or something. I'm not even sure. So then we hop into kind of another tier of free agents, and we go after a guy that I think he was just a drafty, and he actually has an offer out from the Washington Nationals, Walt Lewandowski. He's actually pretty good. You see his hits per 9 and strikeouts per 9 is in the 80s. So we end up actually signing him on a 1-year, $100,000 contract. And, you know, he's potentially a guy that we can move up and develop a little bit. He's only 19. So then the Cubs land Brad Hand, and maybe they missed out on Mookie and decided to go to Brad Hand. But then we go into a little bit of trade talks because we need to start opening roster spots up just in case, you know, some other free agents do become available. So I do decide to trade Steven Elamias, and the reason why is because, you know, I do have infielders now. Eddie Zepeda's ahead of him. JP Crawford's ahead of him. I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. I think Eddie Zepeda is definitely going to be one of the top players in our organization, probably in a couple years. I can't lie. I think he's going to develop into that. What I expected, you know, what Ronald Marte developed into, I think I'm expecting Zepeda to be even better. So I do decide to trade Steven Elamias to free up a 40-man roster spot. Instead of just releasing him outright, I want to get something out of him. So I trade for Justice Sheffield's little brother, Jordan Sheffield. And it's actually his big brother, I think, actually. So it's just kind of funny. I didn't expect that, you know, to get Jordan Sheffield, but I just wanted a guy that would free up a 40-man roster spot. So that's what I decided to do and execute this trade. So then, speaking of trades, the first big one of the offseason does go down shortly after. Madison Bumgarner gets traded to the Braves for Julio Teheran and Castellanos. Wow. That's a big trade because now the Braves are making moves in the NL because they need to catch up. But then it gets weird. Anthony Rizzo gets traded back to the Cubs for Marquez and Jason Hayward. Jason Hayward's one of my favorite players in the MLB. But why? Anthony Rizzo, if you remember last offseason, Anthony Rizzo was traded twice. He already was traded from the Cubs. Now he's getting traded back to the Cubs. So 3 times he's been traded in the last 2 off seasons. That's just a head scratcher there from the Cubs. I don't know what they're doing. So then we look around in free agency. Dallas Keuchel signs with the Red Sox. So the Red Sox are even looking to get even stronger. Michael Brantley signs with the Angels, and Carlos Santana goes to the Brewers on a pretty cheap deal, 1 year, $2.8 million. I'm pretty sure that will help them out pretty well as well. So then we look into another trade, and this one hurts to the core. Puig is in our division. going to the Athletics. And look at this trade. They trade Piscotty, Tanner Anderson, and Jurickson Profar. That's an interesting trade because I think they're kind of going all in this offseason, trying to acquire as much as they can. They see what the Rangers are doing. They see that we just got Corey Kluber, and they're making their move now, getting Yasiel Puig. So he's back in the state of California after this trade. But then it gets really weird. Anthony Rizzo literally just got traded to the Cubs, and the Cubs, for the second time, ship him out. Bruh. This is insane. I mean, I don't know what is wrong with MLB The Show, but this is definitely something that they have to fix. There is no way that Anthony Rizzo gets traded two times in one offseason, then 2 times again in the next offseason. It just doesn't make any sense. And I have no idea if those guys that he actually got traded for will actually even make a difference. So then we decide to get stronger because, you know, we do need to boost that bullpen up just a little more. So I look at Alex Colome, and he is on a 1-year deal left on his contract, and he is 32. Yeah, he's a little older, but I like him. I can't lie. I like him, and I think that, you know, he did have kind of a down year last year, but he's going to come back and bounce back pretty well. We do need some bullpen arms. We decided to get rid of Jake Fraley, who is in the middle of our prospect outfield, so he pretty much does not have a chance really to compete. And then another head scratcher. Brad Hand, who just literally signed a deal with the Cubs. I don't know what the Cubs are doing, but they trade him. I mean, how would that feel to just sign a deal with a team and then they just trade you right away? I don't even know if that's possible in real life. It probably is, but I don't know. But then they get Colton Wong, who, remember, won the batting title. That's just, why would the Twins trade the guy that just won the batting title? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. He's 30 years old. You're trading him for a 31-year-old.
Oh my God.
But we're not done with the weirdness. Anthony Rizzo gets traded back to the Cubs. I mean, you just can't make this up. But then look who's in the trade. Colton Wong, who we just literally showed. I mean, yeah, this is just like the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. Rizzo gets traded 3 times this offseason from the Cubs to the Cubs, from the Cubs, and then back to the Cubs. I mean, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. Let me know if you guys have seen anything like that in any of your off seasons. I mean, I've never seen anything like this, and I don't even know what to say. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The Cubs end up giving up guys to just get Rizzo right back. It just doesn't make any sense. So we move on to the Rule 5 draft, which is later in the offseason. We don't decide to get anybody, and there wasn't much to even get. And remember, these guys that you do draft, you do have to keep on your MLB roster for the remaining or the whole season next year, so we don't decide to get anybody. But then it gets even more weird. The Athletics, who literally just signed Ken Giles, trade him just like that to the Braves.
Bruh.
I mean, this is a little bit frustrating just because I know just how wonky this is, and I just don't know how they're going to fix it. I mean, they probably have to patch it a little bit or something. I don't know. But San Diego Studios is definitely going to patch that. I mean, that just shouldn't happen. So that's all that we do here in the off season as far as signings and trades go. But I do want to keep my eye on Justin Turner. He is still a free agent. So he made it all the way through free agency with nobody signing him. And 4 straight 300 seasons for him. I want to go after him. I want to see how some guys will do in spring training, like Ronald Marte. If he ends up, taking off in spring training, I think I'm going to end up, not signing Justin Turner unless there's an injury or something. But like I said, I did want to try out Sam Perez at the leadoff spot, which I am going to do. He's probably not going to play in right field, mainly because he's kind of a liability in the field, but he can hit the ball really well. I have Ronald Marte right here. This is just kind of like the spring training lineup, and we'll see how it goes. And if you've noticed, Seihei Uebiyashi is now our full-time center fielder. He will play center field, and Wellington Castillo will platoon with Omar Narvaez. That's a big change for us as well. But I want to see what the young guys got. Can Marte show us what he's got? I could develop him a little bit more. I could do that. So that's always still an option. But he's going to get a shot in spring training. So I do want to talk about a little bit about Domingo Santana. I don't know if he's even going to start. I think he might be a bench player. And yes, he does draw walks, but just hitting situations, it just seems like he just does not come through sometimes. And maybe he can show me some things, because right now Marwin Gonzalez is the better defensive player, and I think he's just the better player overall. I think that, you know, he's just shown over time that he's just a better player. But Domingo Santana might get his shot again. We'll have to see. He might need injury or just fatigue in order to get his opportunity, but we'll see. But I do like Marwin Gonzalez. I like that signing a lot, because if you look at it, he's 80 overall, right in the middle of our lineup. And he hit 311 last year. He had a really good year. He had a really good 2 years with the Twins. And I want to see what him and Marte will do in the middle of the lineup. And plus, you know, Castillo's now in the middle of our lineup as well. So that's going to give us some power right there, along with Omar Narvaez, who will be platooning. So we'll have to see. Booker Chen actually will now get moved down to AAA. So that's a guy that, you know, really got his shot at the MLB, but did not show that he was ready. He's still 20 years old, so I do want to develop him. So looking at our rotation, this is what it's going to look like. Corey Kluber, Rodon, Hellickson, Marco Gonzalez, and Justice Sheffield. And some of you guys say, you know, why don't you start Ryusei Kikuchi? It's because when I start him, he just gets the cover ripped off the ball. Even during Sims, he just seems to not do well. So we're hopping into spring training next episode. I might play it, I might not. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see. I don't know if I want to go through a full spring training again. I don't play every game, obviously, but a few, and I might just do that just to get a feel for guys. So hit subscribe, hit that like button, going into the 2021 season, season 3 on the channel. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go. Hey, by the way, let me know what you guys think of the offseason. Peace.